this one?
Yeah,
There.
shut it.
G'day everybody. So hopefully this is now going live on Facebook, but we'll see. There might be a delay. We're not sure. We're trying to use another system, make it all a bit clearer, and I'm about to do a tutorial, but it's not coming up on Facebook. It might be on YouTube. I'm not sure. And Jane's just checking.
It's not. Is it?
Stream. Oh, maybe it's streaming there. Hit that.
Yeah.
No,
It's
we go
streaming.
34 seconds, 40 seconds. So, but we're not seeing it anywhere, so I'm not sure what's going on here. I'll hit that add custom server, we don't want that. Maybe we're not there yet. So, I'm assuming, I'll carry on and assume we are, just in case.
Yeah,
Yep.
Facebook, I did not see it, but the.
Okay, apparently it's on YouTube. Is that it?
Yeah.
Not on Facebook. So let's just assume it is. And basically, yeah, this is going to be a tutorial on the tracker. That's the main one. At the end of the tutorial, if this is working, I'll actually go through the tracker for tonight and show you what's going on with the rest of the fleet. So this is the first time we've used this program, and not to say we're going to continue using it. Anyway, I'll see if I can drive it, and I'll come over here to the other one. There I am there, and I'm in the little corner. So now, if I lose you, I'll press the wrong buttons, okay? We'll see how we go. Okay, I'm going to hit that, and I need to now just hit that to see where I am. Hopefully I'm still in the circle. So, this is the YB tracker, which is actually on the websites. It's actually the same tracker on the Class Globe 580, the Mini Globe Race, the Transat as well. So it's all available. It's completely different to the app. All right. Now, some of you will have looked at your mobile phones and got the Yellow Brick app on there. Looked up Globe 580 Transat, and when you get on it, you can clearly see the position of the boats, but you can't actually see the windy weather like we've got here, and you won't actually see some of the features that I'm going to give you in a minute when I check with Jane that we're actually working. Is it actually working?
Yeah,
Yeah, on Facebook as well? Not on Facebook?
No.
Okay, that's a bit of a bore, so I'm going to go through and we'll put this on YouTube and then share it across as soon as we've finished. I think that's the best way, and we'll work out what's gone wrong before. Am I still in the circle on the side? Am I still there?
No, I checked Facebook, then I get out.
Okay, all right. So the first thing about the tracker is that we've got various sponsors and various bits coming up on the top right hand corner. You need to look at a couple of things. These are all your controls on the top of the screen here, okay? And the first one is just zooming in and out. You can see here we've got all of the boats. We've got, I can click and drag it, that's pretty straightforward. So we've got Marina Lagos up top there, Marina Rubicon's down here. These are the tracks of the fleet, all right? And the first thing I want to show you, just zooming in and out, pretty obvious, it's labelled there. If I want to zoom in on the things, they come off the screen, so I can just click and drag it back down to the middle. And if I want to decrease it, that's the zoom in and out. The other thing I like to do on the overlays for the map, I like to put the latitude and longitude grid on. And you'll see with this grid, this is 30 degrees north of the equator, and this is 20 degrees to the west of Greenwich, all right? And if I zoom that back, you'll see how that stacks up on the rest of the world. So you're going right down 20 degrees north of the equator and so on. It's just a good reference point and gives you an idea of what's going on if you're a mariner, okay? So that's the just on that grid right there on the overlays for the map. The next one, which is really simple, if I zoom out to make it a bit easier, you'll see a little ghosted image there of half black, half white. This is actually night and day, and it's easy to see if I zoom right out, and it's a little bit delayed. But everywhere you see it in the dark here, that's the night time, and this is the daytime, and you'll see that move on a timeline basis as it's going across. So it's currently saying, for instance, that here's Lanzarote there. We're in Lanzarote at the moment, by the way, and it's suggesting that the night is still approaching. It's not quite right because the sun's set and we're actually already in the dark here, so I'm under lights. But anyway, it's sometimes a point of reference. The next one, if I just zoom it up a bit here, you'll see on this little Y mark here, it's actually the track. You might have just seen, if I get rid of some of these other fishtails, and if I hit that again, that red line that just disappeared, that's the normal run line track from point to point on that particular leg. So I hit it again, there it is there. So for now, that's the normal run line, and I can get rid of it if it gets in the way. All right, that's the first one. I'm hoping you can see this. I'm going to enlarge it a little bit just so you can see the next feature. If you want to look at the tracks, there's an icon just at the side here. It's now turned off, but if I hit it, you've actually got the snail trail for the boats, and you can see the course that they've done over a certain period of time. Now, they've only been at sea for about 3 days, I think we're coming up to 3 days, and you'll see these snail trails are actually finishing. You only get about 3 days there. But if you want to see the historic track all the way around the world or everywhere they've been, if you hit it again, you'll see there, you've got the entire track from start to finish. So you'll see here, this little blue one, Popeye actually had a problem back here. We're not sure what happened. It might have been a wind shift, the autopilot or the wind vane took off, and he was asleep and didn't realise going the wrong way. So I'll just enlarge that, and you can see there's his historic track, and see this big blip here. We'll ask him what happened there, but something happened, and here's the tracks of the other boats all the way through. So you've got 3 different options, and again, just to hit that, you've got no snail trail at all. Okay, and then secondly, you've got a partial snail trail, goes back a couple of days, or you hit it again and you've got the full one, but it starts off weak. Okay, now another one, if I hit, hang on a sec, I'll leave the big snail trail on, okay, and I'll decrease the size a little bit. If I hit on any of the boats here, or just, I don't even have to click it, I just put my, hang on, put my cursor over the top, it tells you immediately who it is. It's Immortal Game, that's the colour, it's a sort of like a burnt orangey colour, and inside the box you'll see at the top it's got the speed over the last 4 hours, the average speed over the last 4 hours is 4.3 knots. You've got the skipper's name, Daniel Turner. You've got the position at that particular time and date, so 31st of December 2024 at 17:01 Central Eastern Time. I wonder, that's not UTC. That's interesting. We might have to change that because we usually use UTC on there. Anyway, so it gives you a timeline, it gives you the actual latitude and longitude of that position, and it gives you the distance to the finish. That's what DTF means. So he's 251 miles from the finish, which is Lanzarote, Rubicon Marina, and the distance he sailed in the last 24 hours is 101 nautical miles. He's 8th in line on his position out of the whole fleet, and you've even got a little spot there that says for more information. Not sure here. If I go boom, more information, it goes straight to the website. Oh, I hope I can get back onto that. Straight to the website for his full profile and background information. So anytime you want to get there, that's how you get to it. Now to get back, I go straight back. They'd actually move to a different page of the website. So you can go direct link on more information to their substantial profile. When you're also looking at this, you'll see some of them have got their names there, like Little B's got his name, Biggest Monkey, Number 2, and BB, but some of the others are missing out on their name. And the reason for that is the software program only allows enough room to plug it out the side. If that name looks like it's going to cover another boat, you won't see it. So there's nothing wrong if your boat that you're following doesn't have his name there, it's just a fact of life. And you'll see Little Wren down the bottom there. One thing I'd like to say now is that quite often there are glitches in the system, and you might see one of the boats disappear completely for 4 hours. It could be their tracker's gone down, it could be a flat battery on the tracker, which we can monitor from a console here. We actually can check the battery capacity of every unit and advise the skipper, so hey, look, you've got a problem, you better charge your batteries. Or if they go down and we're not seeing them and we see they've got full batteries and there's something wrong with the unit, or if we can't read anything, it gives an indication that something more interesting might have happened. So we've got various controls here. Also on that, just to expand it a bit further, at the moment the tracking is on 1 hourly. 4 hourly. Every 4 hours you're getting a position ping. We can also control that here with a console and change it to anything we want. If there was an emergency, we'd pull it back to about every 15 minutes. As they're closing the finish line, you'll see the frequency start to increase from 4 hours to 1 hour, then a half hour, and then even 15 minutes, every 15 minutes, as they're approaching the finish line, and then while they're about to cross the finish line, it's actually instantaneous. Now the finish line is right down here. I'll just come in and blow it up. The reason it's instantaneous because we can actually, on a leg, we can actually determine their actual finishing time that they cross the finish line by following the tracker, quite literally. And in fact, I'll continue to zoom in. If you've got the right image there, you can zoom right down to the marina. Here's Rubicon Marina. I'll take it right in and you can see how the finish line works here. I'll go with maximum position out. Okay, we're going right down. You can see the boats on the marina there. There is actually a lighthouse here on the southern breakwater, and there's another one at the back here. So that creates what you call a transit line. When you line up the two lighthouses, that transit line extends offshore, and so they'll actually be sailing in from around the corner. If they're coming in from the west, they'll come to the finish line, they'll cross over it, and we get their time electronically on the tracker. The skipper takes his own time as well, and we compare the two. If they're coming around the east coast of the island, they'll be coming in this direction, which is wrong. So they've got to cross the line, turn around, and then cross the line from west to east. So that's how the actual tracking works for us to keep an eye on their actual finish line. This is the marina. Jane and I are over in an apartment. Where are we? We're in an apartment over here. All quite cool. It's an amazing place, great holiday place. All the ponds are here at the moment. I say that with respect, they're English people. I'm an Aussie, you know, they're ponds. But there's a lot of people from England here. Why would you want to be in England in the middle of winter? So, anyway, I digress. Am my head still in the bubble, Jen?
Yeah,
Yep.
the light's really delayed.
The what? It's
No.
delayed.
I haven't seen your...
I'm hoping it's strong enough. Okay, so we're moving right down now. We've lost our wind indicator. So here's the fleet coming up. I'll just show you how we... we didn't have the wind, did we? No. So moving right along, the next thing I want to show you is how you get the wind gradients in there. This is just a satellite image. This is the ocean, obviously, and you've got the various islands. So there's a little windsock there that you see at an airport. If you hit the windsock, you've got three options. No wind at all. You've got predict wind. Now this is, I've put predict wind in there, and it's not coming up. I'm worried about here we go. Now you'll see this is predict wind images that you get for your app on the phone. And whilst it's very accurate wind direction and strength, it's completely confusing for the average person that doesn't understand how these little arrows work. So we really always prefer to have the windy diagram, and if you stick with it, if you're following this for the first time, you'll learn a lot about weather. So we don't use the predict wind. It's a very good system, especially if you're racing and you're matching it in with your computer and so on, but we use this one here, which is called windy, and it's a very visual and a graphic indication of how the wind works and what it's doing. And I'm going to zoom this right back and you'll see what happens here. So there's the Mediterranean. You can see where it's green, it's a light winds. This is a pressure system. You can see the wind going around here. It's a high pressure system going around in a clockwise direction in the North Atlantic. And I'll just bring the bottom of the tracker up, and you'll see down here, right at the very bottom, there is a colour gradient. It's this colour scale which gives you the wind strength. So when you see the blue over here, it's very light winds. It's down to 5 knots, and it comes across here to 10 knots. And then getting into the green, it's 20 knots. Now this is green here, so that's a 20 knot wind. And if you get really extreme winds, like over here, that purpley colour in there is going to be 40 knots. Okay, so it's quite windy, and you can see it running around the system here. This is a low pressure cell. It always goes in, I'll get a bit further into that, but the main thing is you can see where it's blue, there's not much wind. Green, it's getting a little bit stronger, and then when you're in purple, it's getting serious. It's getting up around the 40s and so on in the blues, and so it goes. So generally speaking, so if we now come back to, forget about that scale on the bottom, we come back to our tracker and the boats, you can see it's pretty light winds. In fact, they're probably only getting 15 knots or so here. The windy program on this tracker system is obviously in partnership with Yellowbrick, and I'll show you the actual proprietary windy program, which is just wind and weather all around the world, nothing to do with the tracker, later on. That'll be another one, because you can get much more detailed weather information for anywhere in the world, for any activity you're ever planning. It's an amazing system, and I'll explain that at a later time, but for now we'll keep it this simple. And you've got to guess, so I know how this feels. So the fleet's currently getting around about 15 knots of breeze, and that's coming from a sort of generally a northerly direction, so their speeds are showing that as well as a reflection. Now I'll go into the tracker at the end, because there's still a lot to go through. The next one that we can do with the weather, the wind in particular, is to look at the forecast going forward. Now you'll see here, this is the wind for 31st of December at 2030 CET. So we can now advance that. So I've clicked on that little circle there, and using my left and right keys, every time I hit it, you'll see the time is changing. It's 23:30, 2:30 in the morning on the 1st, 5:30 in the morning on the 1st. I don't know whether you can see that number there if you're following it through, but every time I click it, and you'll see the wind is actually changing here, right? Because this is the forecast. So we can go forward 24 hours or 2 days or 3 days, and you're getting what's expected of the wind. Now, this is showing the wind for 2:30 in the afternoon on the 2nd of January, and you can see if we blow this up on the track that they've got, that's nearly 2 days away. You'll see the wind's now swung around completely, and it's coming from the southeast here. So it's got a southeasterly wind. That's only about 10 knots. And so depending on where the boats are, if they're over here coming down, it's a beam reach with about 10 knots of breeze. They'd have their biggest spinnaker up, and they'd be probably making about 3 to 4 knots with their biggest kite up in relatively low seas, because if there's light winds, then the sea is only going to be about a metre or so, so it'll be quite good sailing. So that's how you look at the forecast, and I can keep moving it. I can click and drag. This is on the 5th of January, right? You can see now, big deal. On the 5th of January, there's going to be, here's 25 knots, gusting 30 knots from the southwest, which is exactly where they wanted to come from. So they wouldn't want to be there on the 5th of January, or they're going to be in a bit of a mess. It won't be much fun. They're perfectly safe, but it'd be bloody horrible if you're trying to get down here. So that's how you control the weather forecasting, okay? Now, in fact, I'm going to leave this, I want to see a bit of action here, so I'm going to leave it on the 5th, just to show you some of the other information that you can get. Here you'll see it's showing wind, and there's a little triangle. If I hit on that, we're currently on the wind, all right? Now, if I want to go to waves, second to the bottom there, it says waves. If I hit that, then there's the waves. And you'll see over here, it's a light blue down the bottom, then it's a darker blue coming up to a deep blue and going into purple. Each one of those, if you go down, if I just lift now the scale for the wave height, okay, there's the colours. You'll see if it's in this lighter blue here, it's only 1 metre. The darker the blue gets, it comes to 1.5 metres. And so where the fleet is now, on the 5th of January, they'd be getting 2 metre seas. It's bordering into purple. So you can see if I'm halfway between this dark blue down the bottom, going purple into red, that's the difference between 2 and 6 metre swell. So in the middle you've got, that's 4, from 2 to 6, so you've got another 2, so it's about 4 metres. So here it's going to be 3 to 4 metre seas. All right, so that's how you tell at any given time what the actual sea height is. Okay, it's colour gradients, the scales are always at the bottom. If I want to look at currents, I hit the current, and again it's a similar thing. You can see up here that's brown, and that's the direction of the current going in that direction. And what's that speed represent? You always go to the bottom of the map, just click and drag, and the colour will tell you the speed. So again, if we go into the purples, there's a browny colour and a dirty brown. Browny colour, dirty brown, it's probably running at about 1 knot. There's about 1 knot of current there. The green is 0.4 of a knot. So there's about 0.4 of a knot helping them down the way. Now 0.4 of a knot, say half a knot, that's 12 miles a day of free distance. So that's how you'll actually work out your currents. In some parts of the world, you'll get 2 knots or more, 2.5 knots of current. when they're over Cape Town, there's currents there that go up to 4 knots, and you've got to really be careful with all of that. So it's good to know what the currents are. So that's how you do currents. You're looking at the scale at the bottom. You've got the same again with clouds. That's not a very good cloud picture, but it's pretty simple. The brownie colour is sun, the white's cloud, and the deeper white is even more clouds. You can come to pressure, but there's very little pressure gradient at the moment. So if I hit pressure, there it is. You can see the varying colours for pressure difference. If you want rain, that matches the, I need to scale it down to show you a patch of rain, if there's any rain around at that stage. Let's see. Oh, there's some good bits of rain. You'll see here. So this, where it's light blue, if I come down to the scale, the rain situation, which is quite interesting in the tropics, it'll give you the potential number of millimetres. So here you can see that purple bit. They're probably getting a lot of rain in the purple, and that could be thunderstorms as well and bits and pieces. A little bit of general rain here and virtually no rain down here in the grey bits. So there's various bits of information that you can pull from the bottom of this scale here. Temperature is always interesting, but it's usually about 20 something degrees. So I'll bring the weather back now to that from the 5th of January back to real-time weather now. It's yellow. They'll be getting that yellow works out about 22 degrees, I think. You can see here there's 20 degrees, and that's 22 degrees sort of thing. So so that's all useful information to have, and I'll refer back to that at various times. But the first general one is the wind. So that's really that one. You can get that out of the way. We'll leave it on wind. Go from there. Now, zooming options. You can come up here, you'll see zooming options. If I hit this one, it's going to zoom to the race area. So anytime, if you can't find it when you open up your map, you just hit that and it'll take you to the general area of the fleet. And that's relevant too if you have a big enlargement of the scale, you can't find them. This is zoomed to a manual area. That's where we are, we're dealing with manual. Zoom to all the trackers. That means you've got all the trackers there online, ready to go. And there's another one here. You can zoom to the 3 leaders. So there'll be 3 leaders, and at the moment Little Wren's class as a leader, 2 and 3. So the first 3 leaders, it'll take you straight to that on this one. Toggle full screen, that can get you into trouble sometimes, but you very rarely need to do that. And this other one, I'm not even sure what, pop out into another window, we don't want to do that. So you've got all of those. This is the match style. Now I'll just bring you across with, we don't want that. Jeepers, I just lost you completely there. So we'll come back and scale it down. Here we go. I zoomed into an area then, I didn't want to do that, but I just want to show you the different maps that you've got here. So one is a hybrid, that's onshore map and so on. You've got topographical, which you probably know what that is. That's like a normal map if you're on the land. So you can get that when you get to port, or just to do anything you want if you need a topographical map on the bits. But we always go with satellite image there because you get these underwater features as well. You don't get depths. It's not a navigational chart, but it's the one that gives you the best feel for what's going on. I bring the wind back in again, so toggle the wind. Okay, so we've got our wind back, and then the next one is a really useful tool. If I hit it there, it's called the toggle ruler. It's just right on the far side. I've now hit it so it's active, and effectively what I do is I hit it once there. There's one end of the ruler, and I hit it another time there, and what it's done, you can see here, the distance between these 2 points that I just clicked to create is 81 nautical miles, and the bearing is 270 degrees true from the first click to the second click. So that's a compass bearing. You've got 360 degrees in the compass, and that'll give you the bearing. So it's a distance and bearing. And the back bearing, which means going that way, or from the number 2 point to the number 1 point, is 36 degrees. Now this is really handy for lots of things. In fact, I use this tracker system to do a lot of my estimates on course and distance and time all around the world. It's active. You can use it as a very interesting tool, and I do all the time. But the things you might want to use it for, you've got BB back here, one of the heaviest boats in the fleet with Jacob, and you want to see how far away Jacob is from Little Wren, so you extend that down there, and bingo, Jacob is 139.15 nautical miles behind Little Wren, and the back bearing or bearing 214 degrees. So 214 degrees, 139 miles. That's where Little Wren is compared to BB. Or if you want to do to a closer boat, to origami, you can see there it's only 29 miles from origami, but origami set off about 4 hours after everyone else, so he's doing all right. Anyway, so that's a very useful tool. You can move it around anywhere for anything, and once you've done that and you click out of it, if I then wanted to go and move the wind, for instance, using my left and right keyboard, it doesn't work because you've overridden it. So if you want to get back into using full controls, you just got to click on the weather forecasting, and now it'll move. I'm clicking my right key and I click my left key and it comes back again. Okay, so that's, you can always replay this, so don't worry, you don't have to learn it all straight away in one hit. But that's the first part. I'm just going to stick this down a little bit smaller. Am I still in the circle, Jing Jing?
Yes.
My head's still there.
Yes.
Right, now over here, there is, I'll just get that over here. What's that?
That's you.
Oh, there I am. I'm a bit high. I need to shrink down a bit. Okay, so the next one is hit the teams here. And this is your main file to work out which boat is which colour. Okay, so you can see Argo is a light green, and Immortal Gain is the burnt orange, and Peter Punk is that sort of turquoisey colour, and so it goes. All right. Now, if I wanted to find someone, because this can vary at times depending on what's going on, if I wanted to find Immortal Gain, if I hit that, you see this bingo, Immortal Gain is now lit up. Right, so you can find which one, where's Immortal Gain if you're colourblind, or if you're not sure where it is. Or if I hit little b, boom, now little b is the preferred target. Okay, and you know exactly where they are. So that's just a little sideline trick. Now the next one, if you go to the leaderboard, let's assume that Little Wren left at the same time as everyone else. The leaderboard gives you an update, and I've just clicked on that triangle to pull the leaderboard out. Right, it gives you an update on where everyone is in the fleet. So it means that Little Wren would be winning at the moment, would be leading the fleet if they're racing, and they are not racing. This is a chance for them all to settle in, as you know. The key elements are start time. Well, the start time, he left earlier, right? 27th of December at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Everyone else left on the 28th of December at 2 o'clock, except for, we'll see if this has been picked up. Where's origami? Biggest monkey, Mortal Gain. Nope, don't tell me origami's not there. Okay, that's it. Oh no, there is origami. Oh, they got him starting at the same time, but actually left later. Anyway, so that's just the last position received then. So you've got a confirmation that their last position was 31st of December. They're all the same, and they're all on 2100 hours or 2101. One of them's a little bit different there. And as you know, if you've been following it, you would have seen that Little Wren was pinging every minute at one stage. We didn't pick it up. This will be a responsibility of the managers to watch their individual boat and see if there's anything funny happening. DTF means distance to the finish. Okay, so distance to the finish for Peter Punk is 215 miles. For some reason, 215 miles. And distance to the finish for Little Wren is 119 miles. The next one is distance sailed in blue. So Little Wren has sailed 456 nautical miles from Lagos Marina, and so it goes down through the fleet. Then VMG means two different things. It means vector made good or velocity made good. And this is, if they're tacking, this is in relation, and I'll just get rid of this. This is the course line, okay? Now, if a boat is heading in exactly the same direction as the course, right, like Deloja 99, Popeye, right, his VMG, or vector made good on course, is going to be exactly the same as his boat speed, right? So at the moment, on this reading of position, his boat speed was 3.5 knots. So let's just have a look, Popeye, and see if I'm correct. Okay, VMG, okay, not quite. Oh, because it's over the last 4 hours, so it may have been a little bit different, but it's 3.1 knots. So that's the vector made good or velocity made good towards the finish. Okay, it's a technical term, but it's still important if you're a sailor to know what's going on. The others are making 4.4 knots, 4.3, 4, 4, 4, which is all pretty good because they've got good sailing. We'll talk about that later. And then you've got the distance made good in the previous 24 hours. So every time you ping a position, it'll update how many miles in the last 24 hours. And that's a really nice figure to have. So because they want to try and maintain at least 100 miles a day, and you see it varies: 116, 110, 117, 91 for number 2, and so it goes. 89 for BB, because BB was over in the calmer winds, didn't have stronger winds, and Popeye's just not eating enough spinach. So that's how you can see what they've made in the last 24 hours. Now, based on their VMG, or their vector made good on the course, right? So you have based on that speed, 4.4 knots, in relation to the distance to the finish. So if we work on biggest monkey, so at 4.4 knots, the distance to the finish, which is 222 nautical miles, that will generate an estimated finish time, an ETA, right? So if biggest monkey maintained 4.4 knots all the time to the finish, he would finish on the 2nd of January at about 23:45 hours. So about midnight on the 2nd of January, biggest monkey will finish. But without getting too complicated, what I can tell you is the wind is going to drop off substantially. So he's going to slow down quite a bit. So you'll probably find he's actually going to get there around about sometime Thursday the afternoon of the 3rd or something like that, because he's not going to maintain 4.4 knots. But it's still a nice indicator to have, especially if they've got a long way to go. You're always using these numbers just to give you information. Now this one on corrected elapsed time, that's the total, based on that VMG, or that velocity made good over 4 hours, divided into the total time to the distance, giving an ETA of 2nd of January 23:45. If that all happened, it will have taken him 5 days, 9 hours, 45 minutes and 59 seconds to actually carry out the voyage from Rubicon Marina to, from Lanzarote, no, from Lagos Marina, okay, in Lagos, from Marina to Lagos, to Rubicon Marina in Lanzarote, about 600 miles. It would have taken him about 5 days and 9 hours. So, that'll all make sense later on. It's a bit much maybe to absorb, but that's how the leaderboard works. And this will all be shuffled automatically, so the leader will always be up the top, right? Bearing in mind they didn't all start at the same time, but when the race is on, you see someone up the top, they're winning, right? And so it goes down the line, and maybe Popeye will still be there. It's hard to say, but anyway, that's how you work the leaderboard. Now, there's another very interesting thing which takes a bit of getting used to, but I'll just still give you a tip off here now. You can see that, oops, I've gone a bit too far there. You can see, here we go. This is the course that's happened so far, right? Now, we can get an action replay of this if we want, and actually race them against each other at a set rate of speed. And I haven't done this since May, when the Ocean Globe race finished. It takes me a bit of time to get used to the whole thing again, because you can get upside down. But here's the reality. Here's where it started in Lagos. Here's where they're going in Lanzarote. And down here, you've got a video replay. So if you read the bottom of the screen, on the 31st of December at 21:01, that's where the fleet is. All right? Now, I can click and drag that back. See this? You lose the wind, but look at that. We're actually now dragging all the boats back to the start. And the highlighted boat is Immortal Game, right? So I've taken them all back to the start. Now I'm just going to come up and make it a little bit bigger so it's more fun for the race. So I just build that up a little bit more. And coming down, I've now got to, I'll leave that there. I've got to get back to the video replay at the bottom. Now, here's the deal. If I want to, this is where I get confused as well. I've got to now get this up here. If I want to replay this, the first thing that happens is you'll see the new speed popped up. It hasn't started yet. I've got to determine whether I want it to go fast or slow, right? And it's plus. So I'll just add a little bit of speed on there. Oh, why did they go that fast? hang on, I'm just going to hit play. So here you can see that's play pause. I'm going to hit play. I've got to go to the other end and hit play now. Let's see what's going on. Hang on. Oh, jeepers. Come on. Nope, not doing what it's supposed to do. This is where I get... I should have practiced this before I get there, because it's fun to do. That's where they go. So, pause. Now, I want to... Come on. Maybe the internet's not strong enough. Hit that. Come on. Toggle extra playback buttons. It's not doing it. Okay, we might call that quits for the moment. Well, anyway, I'll manually click and drag. Here we go. This is manually dragging it, so you can see you've got the race going on, and I'll come back to you later. You can actually have a lot of fun with this, but for some reason it's stalled out. It's not going. So then, as soon as you get today, you get back there. So anyway, that's enough of that. What else can I show you? Any of these sponsors up here, if you click on that, you'll go straight to their website, right? Boom. You want to know about Marina Lagos? There it is. So you're straight onto their website, come back to the tracker. You want to go to NV Dodgers and so on. They made my Dodger on tracker, which is the best bit of Dodger I've seen on any of the 580s at the moment. And you will probably see that change over the number of months. But anyway, we'll see. So I think you've got most of it there now. And let's just now, I'll give you a quick run through of what's happening and what's to be expected going forward to the next... I think we've got fireworks happening outside. It's New Year's Eve, so we've probably got 3 people watching this if we're lucky. Anyway, we're still working. It took us 4 hours to get this stuff done this afternoon, trying to work out what's going on.
40.
Sorry?
I have 40 watching.
We got 40 watching. Holy dooly. That's a big deal for this. Ooh, thank you for the 40 that are there. That's pretty cool. Anyway, I've got a few things happening here. All right, so what's going on with the fleet? It's been very interesting for me to watch what's happening because, what I've got to say first is I'm just interested. I know all the entrants really well now. We've had an interrelationship for many years. It's been quite a lot of fun, and we all knew each other before they arrived. Now I know them even more. I've seen all their boats. I know all their boats intimately. We've done all the safety checks and so on. And I had a hunch who's going to be into performance and who's going to be into the adventure and so on. And it's really, there's a few surprises there. But suffice to say, a lot of the boats are different. There are 2 that are absolutely performance sailors. One of them is Renaud on Cupachinet, and the other is Origami with Kerry on board. Now, the reason I say they're hot into racing because they're both dinghy sailors, and both of them don't have any winches. And they've got hot deck gear. They've gone for 360-degree sheeting angles, sort of donuts or friction rings, and trying to keep the weight respectable. I think Origami is super light. They don't want to carry anything extra. Renaud is conscious of the weight, and that's paying dividends, and it shows. They're both moving particularly well. They're competitive sailors. So they've got a real performance focus. Peter Punk is completely an eye-opener because I don't know Peter that well. We've been speaking for a long time online. I know her background, commercial skipper and all that sort of stuff. But I've got to say she's performing particularly well, and her boat reflects that as well. You look inside. I just put her pictures up today. It's quite simple inside, no excess gear, and she's performing pretty well. The other one is Biggest Monkey. This is Neil's. And I've got to say, he's weight freak. He's built a strong boat, but nothing else. And I've actually asked him if he'd carry a big package for me. He's got all of the mainsail stickers for the boats in Antigua. And I said, hey, Niels, you got a fine, you got a penalty. I just made it up. I said, can you carry this for me? And he's kindly offered to carry some extra weight for me, even though he's so weight conscious, and he's also a performance sailor. So those 4 are actually hot to trot, even though this is only meant to be a trial run. Watch this space. Now, it's not to say that the others aren't performance either, because Little Wren's doing pretty well as well. If you look at their speeds, they've had different weather, so it's hard to get there. I know, all of them are up there and want to go places. Dan Turner and Dan Turk, both of them are pretty cool sailors. Aussie Dan is very much a performance sailor, and I think he's just settling in, so it's going to be very interesting indeed. The boys, 99 and 100, that's a whole different story. There's definitely contrast there that you can see. Argo, still building the boat. I haven't been inside, so I haven't had a look at the amount of gear he's got on board, but he's also carrying a bit of weight for me. So an immortal game. As I was saying, Aussie Dan is. I'm surprised to see him back there, but he knows that this isn't racing. He doesn't want to let anything out of the bag. He's just taking his time and getting used to systems. And a lot of them are actually not struggling with their wind vanes, but it's clear that they are getting used to the system, but they'd already be into it by now. And number 2, Jasmine, she's taken her time. This is a big ask for her. This is the biggest trip she's ever had on that boat and the biggest overnight sailing she's probably actually done, and that's what this voyage is for. So she's not worried about stressing the boat. She's still feeling her way and she's doing really well. Bibi's the same. Jacob is a really good sailor, a real seaman and so on, so no worries there. But he's got his whole life on board. This is his grand adventure, and they're all doing well. And generally speaking, you can see the difference here. So difference, if I go to the toggle ruler and just say in the main part of the fleet, forgetting about Popeye for the moment, along the run line, the fleet is spread out over about 50 miles, okay, from back to front, and that's not including Popeye down the back here. So Popeye's he's gonna pull it all out of the can later on. In fact, this could be a psychological deception for the whole fleet. He could be thinking that he'll just sort of cruise his way along here and let the others think he's, that's what's happening, and watch what happens on the next leg. It could be quite interesting. So what's going to happen with the weather? I'm dragging on a bit here, but now this is where it's going to get very interesting. I need to shrink this down a bit. You know what I've said about the weather. I need to show you the end. Certainly Adam on Little Wren is going to be quite happy that he got underway when he did, because he has distance to the finish. It's at 9 o'clock tonight. Distance to the finish, he's got only 118 to go, and he's done 95 miles in the last 24 hours. And he's going to slow down a bit because the weather overall, let's look at the weather overall before we start talking about their estimated speeds and ETAs. So I click it through. So it's now, this is at 8:30. This is around midnight, and you can see the colour slightly changing. It's getting lighter, but the wind direction is still behind, right? So going through to 5 o'clock in the morning, it's absolutely got lighter, so they're going to slow down. You can see Little Wren's going to slow down. All the fleet is going to slow down substantially now. This is tomorrow at 2:30, and it'll yet to be seen how far Little Wren will get, but I think she's going to be down around here somewhere, so may just hold the breeze. Remembering also that sometimes this forecast is not absolutely correct. It's showing virtually no wind in these darker blue spots. It'd be less than 10 knots, and it's going in the same direction as the boat, so even if the boat's doing 2 or 3 knots, the apparent wind's only about 5, 6 or 7 knots, so it's very hard to keep moving, but they're absolutely going to slow down. Little Wren, I would think, is going to be, let's go along a bit further. So the next 24 hours, it's going to slow down a bit, and this whole fleet is going to be down around here somewhere in this light, even though it's starting to pick up from the northeast, that's going to swing to the east. So the next 24 hours for the whole fleet, they're probably going to be at least 1 knot slower on average. And so this by this time tomorrow, and then we go into the next day, and you can see the fleet coming down here is going to be in this patch. This is early morning on January the 2nd. Adam's going to be making his way in, and he'll arrive sometime early on the 2nd, I reckon. Even though he's only 100 or so, he's only 120 miles to go. Maybe lunchtime, could even be afternoon, depends on what the real weather is here coming down the line. The others will be stuck here on the 2nd, and it's still light, and then you can see it's still light, and by lunchtime, at least it's come across to the beam. This is really good, but the fleet will probably only be about here, around a little bit where Little Wren is at the moment, and it's still light. It's only going to be 10 knots. It'll be very smooth seas. it's on the beam and moving forward of the beam. So that's kind of good. If it goes light and it's just on the beam or forward of the beam, they'll sail a little bit faster because the apparent wind is still good. It's still on the beam right through till the afternoon of the 2nd. So they'll be doing okay, but they're literally going to be still quiet. It's going to be a real race. And I don't think any of them will get in by the 2nd. I think the first lot will start to come in if we go through till, here comes the 3rd, the early hours of the 3rd. You can see the problem is starting. Now it's getting quite close to the, forward of the beam. And it's going to be 6 degrees apparent while they're pushing down. And it's quickly going to go on the nose. So the first one's in. If they can get in very early on the 3rd, if this forecast is right, they'll be okay. But after that, anyone running behind, like Popeye and like any of the tail enders, maybe BB, you're going to see they may have to start tacking. So they'll be so close and yet so far. So they might not then get in until the 4th. It comes back a little, swings a little bit, but then it starts to die off. There's a trough of no wind. So that's going to be the 3rd and the 4th. So you've really, but it's still pretty good. It's not hard on the nose. It's giving them some interesting sailing. Generally, through all of that, we'll go over to the sea state now and see that the sea is going to be less than 2 metres to 1 metre and even more. So I come back to the sea to today, that's only 1 metre, not even that. And over the next few days, I'm clicking through. Here we come through into the next day. It's only less than a metre, so they'll really be enjoying it. We're into the 2nd, again less than a metre. Quite good sea state, picking up a little bit when it goes to the headwinds, but nothing. Still not much over a metre. It's really good. And let's just see if it's a sunny day. Yep, beautiful sunshine, blue seas. They'll come back happy as. There shouldn't be much water over the deck. But as I say, I think most of them are going to be here on the 3rd and 4th. Tail enders are going to be here on the 5th. That's probably enough, so I'll just bring it back to all the usual things. You can ask questions in the comments. I always read the comments, try to put a like on them, even if I don't like them. just let you know that we are following and listening to what you're saying and suggesting and so on. If you've got a question, you can ask that question anytime. One of two things will happen. I'll either answer the questions there on your post, or I could leave it over, let it hold over, and give you some answers in a live later on. While we're playing with this, I'm going to try and go back to the big screen. Now, Jane, which one do I hit to go back to the big screen? I come on the side here and I hit that one. If I lose you, I press the wrong button. Here I am. I'm still in there. Now I've got to hit this one. Okay, so that was fun. I'll run this live on Facebook in a minute.
No, I said I put that on wrong in Ocean Grove.
You put it on Ocean Grove?
Yeah.
So it's on Ocean Globe now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So all the Ocean Globe people that are watching this, you're not meant to be watching this. It's there. So we will share it from Ocean Globe across to the other side. You all know about the tracker. Anyway, so what I was saying is we will occasionally, in fact, when we're in the heat of the race and so on, I usually will do a live session once a week answering questions. You'll see me put a post up, a question mark on the picture, and you put all your questions underneath that question mark, and then when there's enough questions there, I have a live and answer all your questions because other people are probably interested as well. Anyway, that's it. So thanks for watching, and like and share. Tell all your friends, eh? And I know for a fact we're running at less than 10% of everyone who's putting an emotion there is actually following the site. So if we get 100 people like it, or they think it's great, or they give us a heart or something, when I check at the back, there's less than 10% of you have actually liked the site. So please like it if you're following it, and it just shows you how many people are actually there following. It makes all the effort really well. Rob's coming in on the 2nd, and Ada's following up after that. So we've got our digital manager here, and Ada will be doing some commentaries and bits and pieces. That's us. That's it. Georgie's headed back, and she'll be getting involved with other things later on. So thank you, Jane. It seems to be working. So we'll see. Now I've got to work out how to shut it down. We normally have a header on this and a footer, but for now we're just checking it out. How do I shut it down, Jane? Which one?
Top one.
Top one. This one here?
Yeah.
Okay. See you later. Bye bye.
Hit that and then see. You need to hit that.
Oh, I need to hit that as well.
Yeah.
Just that?